What's going on today, guys? Mr. Hunter here for your first grade lesson on community helpers. I hope you guys are happy about that. Helping out people is something that's a great thing to do. God created us to be servers, so we're supposed to help people and not just get help and get things all the time. Today, we're going to start on page 16, but before you turn there, I want to give you some clues or ask you some questions about who do you think we're going to talk about today? All right, this community helper is a person that can help you if you get lost. So if you're lost, you can find them and they'll help you. This person is also someone who directs traffic at a stoplight if the traffic light is broken or it's not working or if there's something going on. This person, I think this may give it away. This person is a person who drives a car that has sirens and has lights and they flash. Okay. This person wears a badge. They wear a badge on their shirt and they have a uniform. Okay. All right. So who do we think this person is? Okay. So yesterday we talked about somebody with a uniform, a firefighter, but this person is similar in that same realm. This person is a police officer. All right. You can look back at your map if you want to, and look at the map and look at all the stoplights, look at the stop signs, the crosswalks, and think about this. Look at the police station that's on the map. Which way would you have to travel to get from the firehouse to the police station? Just look at the map. Look at all the directions, the streets. Which way would you have to go? Does it look like you have to go up? Well, what do we call up? We call up north. So you would have to go north to get from the fire station to the police station. So that's something you're using your map to help understand. All right. Really quickly, just going to go over some facts about police officers so you guys can have your ears open and listen to what I'm saying here. Some really specific facts about police officers. You may already know about them, but I'm going to tell you some more. A police officer helps to keep our community safe by making sure that people obey the laws. All right. The police officer is supposed to be a friend. Children, you don't need to be afraid because police officers are supposed to be your friend, but only those who break or disobey the law have the reason to fear. Okay. The Bible says, for rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. So the Bible even says that people who are ruling over all the laws, they're not supposed to be walking around, looking like this and saying, "What are you doing?" and putting fear in people. They're only supposed to do their job in a really strong way if somebody's not doing what they're supposed to do. It's kind of like our lives with God. If we do what we're supposed to do, we have nothing to worry about. So if you do what you're supposed to do, you obey the laws. Mr. Hunter drives the speed limit, doesn't do anything. You should be okay. All right. Now let's look down here at page 16 and let's read a little bit. It says police officers. Every community has laws to help keep people safe. And police officers protect our community by making sure people obey the laws. I can pray for the police officers. How many of you guys pray for police officers? I do. I mean, obviously, with my family, I have an aunt who is a police officer, like I said, and they're all in Washington, D.C. And so they have not only to protect the community, they have to look at the things that happen at the government, at the White House. And there's always something that they could be in danger for. So we have to pray for them. And because sometimes there's people who don't like police officers. So we're going to pray for their safety too, that they're protected from everything they deal with on a daily basis. And we're praying for them that they do not have to experience any hatred outside against them. All right. Now, a police officer helps to keep my community safe and make sure people obey the laws. And again, in that Bible verse, I'm going to repeat it. It says, for rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. Will thou not then be afraid of power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. And that's in Romans 13, verse number 3. There's an activity over there. You can color your police officer if you like, or if you have your sheet of paper on the side, you want to draw what a police officer looks like, draw. I want to see some creativity. Be as creative as you want to, but we're just going to move on to page 17 now, okay? Now, when you're looking at an officer's badge, right? You look at the uniform, look at the picture that you see, look at the picture of the dog and all the uniforms that they're wearing, right? An officer's badge is usually shaped like a shield, or it's like a five to seven, like a star, okay? And what it is, the writing on the badge always includes the name of the department and the letters which signify the officer's rank. So what that means is you have your star on your shirt, and there's a lot of different police departments. So do you think the police department in Washington, D.C. is the same as it is here in L.A.? No. So if somebody wore the uniform from D.C. here in L.A., we would know the difference, not only because of the color of the uniform, but because of the star they have, their badge. You'd be able to say, oh, your star is different. Where do you work at? Oh, I work here in L.A. Oh, I work in Orange County, or I work in West LA. I work in Ladera. Wherever you work, you may have a different badge depending on the police department that you work for. Okay. Now, a special symbol or a seal is usually appearing on the badge. All right. And what happens is it's the rank. So the abbreviations for your badge may say this: PTL, and that means patrolman. Everybody say patrolman. All right. And there's another one for corporal. It's CPL. Everybody say corporal. Okay. And then you say sergeant. Everybody say sergeant. And that's SGT. And then you have lieutenant, LT. And then you have captain, which is CAPT. And then you can have one, if you retired, it's just going to say RET. So you can wear a badge and it's still not even be working, but it just shows retired. So you go all the way from patrolman all the way up to the captain. The captain is the head of the department, and they have really a lot of responsibility and a lot of power. Okay. Now, a police officer, you don't just get to wear a badge. You have to have honor to wear a badge. All right. You must be worthy. And when we see a police badge, we know that a person can help us. All right. Why don't you give examples of some other things you have seen? If you've ever seen a police officer, what else do you see in a uniform? You see the badge, you see the buttons, you see something on the side, maybe you see the colors of the flag, right? There's so many different things on the uniform that shows us what they are supposed to represent. All right. And I'm actually going to put a video in here about a day in the life of the police officer. I hope you guys liked the video that you saw yesterday that you did with the fireman. I thought that was pretty cool, seeing his daily journey. So let's take a look even further. I'm going to read a little bit more down here. One more thing. It says children do not need to be afraid of a police officer, because guess what? If you ever get lost, you're somewhere at an amusement park, you're just somewhere out and you don't know where you are, or something happens, they are the ones that can be able to help you to get back to safety. They can call, they can figure out what's going on. If you ever get lost, you seek a police officer in a shopping area like a mall, playground, anything. If you see somebody else that's lost, you can help find a police officer and help them find. So you know you're the one that can help them out. All right. And then guess what? Another thing that's a little bit different. If you go to a mall, security guard, they may have a uniform. They may look like a police officer, but are they a police officer? No, they're security, but they still have some of the same responsibilities. They're there to help protect you. They're there to help make sure that you're safe. And if you ever get lost or need some help, they're there to help you out. All right. Looking back at page 17, let's read at the top. It says a police officer wears a badge and a uniform, and these show that the officer can enforce the laws and make lawbreakers pay a fine or go to jail. All right. Some of the police officers work with dogs. Have you guys ever seen that? Like a canine? All right. The police officers and their dogs are called canine units. All right. The dogs help the officers find items that have been hidden. The dogs also work hard to keep the officers safe. So the dogs there, they're helping to sniff out things. If any time, like there may be something bad in somebody's house, they may have something that they shouldn't have, like illegal drugs or something that could harm them or harm other people. Sometimes the police officer can't see it. They can't do anything else. But if you bring the dog has a heightened sense of smell, and they can smell things that we can't as humans. So the dogs help out to do things, to check out, to make sure it's safe, and they can help find people. Even kids, if you give a dog like a canine unit, they're trained that if they smell a piece of clothes, like if they sniff my shirt right now, and then I was hiding somewhere, the dog will be able to use its nose based off the smell, just off my skin, to find me. Isn't that amazing? That is creative. That's beautiful, and that's really something that God gave the dogs a special gift. So not all dogs are like that, but these dogs for the canine, they are trained especially to do that. All right. And then at the bottom, I keep repeating it over and over, but if you are ever lost, you need to tell a police officer, and a police officer is supposed to be your friend, and they will help you out. Now, when I was little, I was at Disney World in Florida, Orlando, Florida. And one time I wasn't paying attention, and I was walking with my parents, and I stopped walking because I got distracted. I stopped walking, and I looked up, and I couldn't see my parents. And I was like, probably your age, like 6 or 7. And I was lost, and I did not know what was going on. And so I walked back to the same place where I was, and I stood there, and somebody came up to me, and it was like a security guard. And they were like, "Are you lost?" And I said, I don't know where my parents are. And sure enough, my parents weren't that far. They were right around the corner, and they came back within a few minutes. But I was lost, and it was something that really, it scared me. I didn't realize it, but it actually scared my parents more than me. So they came back, and they were really worried and happy. But the security guard, the police officers were there to help out and keep me company until I was able to see my parents again. So that's their job, and they can do the same for you. But hopefully, you're never in that position. All right, let's turn the page. Turn the page. All right. So here we go. It says police officers make sure people drive safely and obey the speed limits. The police may turn on their emergency lights and siren to warn others to move out of the way. Police cars have special radios to talk on their computers to get messages. So they have phones, but they have special radios. They have computers in their cars to be able to do things. If somebody's lost, they can, and you give them a license plate, they can look up your car or your license plate and they can see who owns it. So if somebody has stolen your car and a police officer sees the license plate, they can know, hey, that's not the car, and they can get your car back to you. All right. Some police officers direct traffic where there are no traffic lights. Have you guys ever seen the lights go out in the streets and it's hard for people to drive? And then they have these people with the vests. Those are officers who help us. Those are called the patrolmen. Remember, their badge would say PTL. All right. Some police officers work near schools to help keep children safe. You see that sometimes too. There's always a cop car by the daycares or the schools, just to let people know that this place is protected. And then a sheriff. Everybody say sheriff. All right. A sheriff works in the county and helps people in the same ways that police officers help in the towns or the cities. All right. Now, I have a thing. What are some laws that help that we have out here that you have to obey? All right, to help the police officer, because if you obey the laws, you're helping the police officer. What are some laws? When I'm driving, Mr. Hunter, when I'm driving, when you guys are riding in the car, what do we put on first? Our seatbelts, right? It's against the law to ride without a seatbelt on. So a police officer, when they pull you over and they give you a ticket for not driving with a seatbelt, they're not trying to be mean. They're trying to help you protect your lives so that they don't have to come back. And if there's a car accident, they don't have to help you out, and it could be even worse, right? All right. Do not litter. Do not litter. We have trash cans for a reason, and this is our planet. We want to keep it clean. We want to keep it safe. So don't litter. Throw it in the trash can. If you see something on the ground, you guys did a very good job this year of cleaning up the playground, making sure we're all clean. It's our school, making sure it looks neat, cleaning up your classroom, cleaning up your desk. Same way outside. When the police officer is seeing things, you don't want to throw stuff, trash everywhere. You want to pick it up, okay? And then you can obey traffic signals to cross the road. You can cross the road and the sidewalk, but only when it's your turn to cross, all right? Now, we talked about this the other day. There's a special phone number that you might have to dial. What is the phone number that you have to dial? 911. Just like the fire department. All right, 911 is used for the fire department and the police department. These are emergency calls that we have. So it's a special number only for emergencies. And then I have a question. When or where would you see a police officer helping out in the community? You might see them at a traffic light, right? If it's not working, you might see them at a parade. Anybody ever been to a parade? They're there to make sure there's safety and nothing bad happens at the parade and that everybody knows where to go. So at a parking lot, at a parade, at a school, at a traffic light, they're always doing things, various different jobs, not just trying to hurt people. They don't want to shoot people all the time, all that. It's just mostly about protecting and making sure they don't have to do those things. They want to protect us without any violence, okay? Now, let's look at page 19. We're going to look at number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, and number 7. We're going to read this together. It says, I learned and follow these safety rules. Wear a seatbelt when riding in a car or a truck. Who does that? All right, we're good. All right, we did that. Number 2, tell your parents whenever you go outside to play and play in a safe place away from the street. Never leave the yard without permission. Who does that? Right? I used to get in trouble when I was little because sometimes I would go farther than I was supposed to. My mom said, you did not ask for permission. So you have to ask for permission. Make sure your parents can see you at all times, and make sure you're allowed to go. Make sure my friends, I used to have friends that lived across the street from me, and I would try to walk out across the street, but you have to make sure you look both ways, or make sure you have somebody walking you across when you're little, okay? Number 3, stay close to your parents when you're traveling or shopping so you don't get lost. Don't get lost like Mr. Hunter. Number 4, always obey and come quickly when parents call. I know sometimes you guys want to take your time, and mom and dad are saying, hey, come here, it's time to go from school, or hey, come here, I need your help. Sometimes they're calling you because they need you to do it right away, and it's important. So you don't need to wait, you don't need to say anything, you just need to go, okay? Number 5, a stranger is someone you do not know. So what do? We don't never talk to a stranger alone. Never get into a car with a stranger. So sometimes you may see somebody and they look nice and they may smile at you and they may say hi. It's okay, but you don't want to say hi to somebody you don't know. So keep walking, keep moving forward. And if anybody ever, a stranger, somebody you don't know, somebody your parents have never seen, you've never seen them in their life, they say, hey, get in my car. No, we don't do that. So I don't think that's going to happen to you, but just always remember that. And if you see other kids your age, tell them too. Don't do that. All right. Number 6, ask Who is it when someone comes to the door? Never open the door to someone you don't know. All right. Same thing with dealing with a stranger. Just don't open the door. That's not something you should do. Let the parents do that. Let somebody older do that and take care of it. Make sure you're safe. And then number 7, learn when and how to call 911. Practice saying your address and phone number. So remember, that's something we want to work on. We want to practice knowing our address, practice knowing our phone number, and we want to make sure that we know how to call 911. We don't play on 911. We don't play on the phone. We just want to make sure we know how to do it. All right. Now, let's turn the page. All right. We're on page number 20. Now, when we obey the laws, we help the police officers do the work. When we obey the laws, when we obey traffic signs. Now, look at these tiny shapes next to the words and look at what they represent. All right. We learn to obey these traffic signs. That first one with the R and the R, that sign means a train may come across the street. And if a train does come, you have to stand a safe distance away, and you don't play on the railroad tracks. So even when the cars come, I have to stop. I see the stoplight, the lights come down, and that's to protect me. Also, if there's a sidewalk, you have to stand really far back. If you stand too close, remember when we went to ride the train to USC down to the Science Museum? We had to stand back. We had to make sure we were behind the yellow so we didn't get hit and nobody got hurt, right? Look at the next one. This sign with the people on the school crossing, this sign means drivers should watch for children walking to and from school. And I always go on the crosswalk and I make sure it's safe before I cross the street. That sign is something that we have right next to Redeemer, okay? It's something not just for us, it's for others. It's to let people know that kids and parents are walking around in this area because it's a school. They have safety measures. We want to make sure nobody's driving too fast. Nobody's not paying attention. So when you see the kid and the parent in the picture, you want to make sure everybody is driving safe. And then last but not least, those signs at the bottom, no bicycles, danger, and warnings. I stay away from places with these signs so I won't get hurt. It is not safe to play there. So you can kind of see right there, that's what it looks like. You should have that in your book. All right. You obey the laws. You're making sure that everyone is safe, making sure the police officers are safe. All right. One last thing I want to talk about with street safety. I'm going to read this to you. You should be very careful when you cross the street. We mentioned this. You got to watch for cars. Got to watch for other vehicles. All right. You see sometimes people, they look at a light and they're like, oh, I can make it. And they run out and try to get in front of it. Never do that. If you have to run across the street, just wait. Okay. It's not worth the risk. All right. If you see a car coming, stay out of the street until the cars pass and never, never, never run across the street. Like I just said. All right. When you cross the street, you need to look what? Look both ways. All right. Because sometimes a driver, they may suddenly turn the corner and they didn't see you. And even with signs and traffic lights, you should always ask an adult for help unless your parent has given you permission to cross the street. Okay. Now, last but not least, on page 21, I want you to look at page 21. Okay. All right. We're going to draw something. All right. So you can have a piece of paper, have a yellow crayon, a red crayon, or a green crayon. And you can have color pencils if you want. We're going to draw a box, a vertical box. And then we're going to draw our own traffic light. And let's look at this page and we're going to read it. All right. We're going to draw a picture of something that is very important to pay. So you guys don't drive right now, but it's very important for your parents to obey, Mr. Hunter to obey. All right. We're going to draw a traffic light. We're going to read this poem over here. I should always look in all directions before I cross the street. It's called red, yellow, green. Traffic light red, traffic light green, traffic light yellow. What do they mean? Red says no. It's the other side's turn. You must be patient and courtesy learn. Yellow says slow. It soon will be red. You need to be cautious and not speed ahead. Green says go. Your way is now clear. When you take your turn, there's no accident here. Remember what the traffic light says. Red says no, yellow says slow, and green says go. So you can make your own picture. If you have a blank piece of paper, what you're going to do is you can draw the box just like you see here, and then you're going to draw a big red circle. Then you're going to go down. You're going to draw a big yellow circle, and then you're going to draw a big green circle. But what you can do first, guys, so you make sure you put it in the box, draw a big circle with the red crown, draw a big circle with the yellow crown, draw a big circle with the green crown, and then draw your box around it. Okay, so make sure you just draw the circles first, then draw your box around it, and then you can color inside. And that is going to be your own perfect personal stoplight. You can have your stoplight in your house. Maybe there's going to be times where the light is green. And that means you can play and do everything you want and be loud. But then maybe there's a time you want to help your parents out and be a little bit quieter. So it's on yellow. That means you're going to slow down. You're not going to be as loud. Maybe you're going to read a book instead of playing a video game. Maybe you're going to read a book or play with a puzzle instead of running around and being loud. And then red, that's when you stop. Maybe that's when it's time to sit down and do some homework. Maybe that's when it's time to sit down and think about how you can help your mom or your dad. So those are things we're going to do. You can do whatever you want, but I'm going to have you do that. Remember what they mean. We all know red stop, yellow means slow, and green means go. You can read that poem again. Use some of the phonics that we talked about, the exclamation points, the interrogative, the exclamatory. There's a lot of exclamatory signs in that. And then I'll read one more thing to you. All right. Now at the bottom it says you color in each of the circles to make it look like a real traffic light. And if you want, you can draw lines coming from one of the lights to show that the light is shining brightly. All right. You decide whether the light is telling you to go or no slow. So what you can do, sometimes you can draw like little lines outside after you color it, and that means, oh, this is the light that it's on. So if you want your light to be red, afterwards you can draw little lines outside the red or yellow or green. All right. We learned a lot about police officers today. I hope you guys enjoyed the lesson, and God bless anybody that has family that works in the police department out there, keeping us safe. And we love you and we're praying for you. All right. Have a good one.